It's also similar in a way to being and experiencing the solar eclipse. What was that, 14, 15 years ago? And the total solar eclipse, we actually were outside watching that, and as the shadow came over, you could feel the build-up of energy that was quite zingy when we reached full total darkness, and then gradually started to tailor away. But you could feel the ground, and we just happened to be sitting on a big earth energy line, or a ley line, whatever you want to call them, at that point, and you could feel the change and the real sudden fast flowing energy through that line at that point. So I think it's really important that people understand the things that are affecting them on a daily basis. Like I said, you have electricity, you have all the radio frequencies being broadcast through the air, microwaves, the electricity, yeah, I've said that plenty of times, all sorts of things are affecting you. The moon obviously has an effect. Lots of people notice it, and a real significant personal experience is working with adults with learning difficulties and seeing how their behaviour changed on a full moon, and watching children are the same. They get really hyper towards a full moon, and I know personally that my children are kind of full of it when it's coming up to full moon, and have real difficulty going to sleep. The same when there's an earthquake building, they get quite hyper, and the same on really windy days when there's an awful lot of energy in the air because the wind's really rushing. Children are completely full of it. They're bouncing off the walls, they're full of little beans, they're jumping and they're shouting, and they're excited. And the animals are the same. My dog reacts the same way, the cats have reacted the same way. They're all wanting to play and they're full of energy. It's quite interesting. You notice that everything is affected, but quite often we just dismiss it, and that's a real shame, because this is part of who we are. This is a big part of who we are, and we're ignoring it. You know, this affects our moods. This affects the way we interact with other people. I just think it's really interesting to watch. And I think if people understood this about themselves, if people actually understood how affected they are by the energies around them, many things could be resolved and many things wouldn't happen the way they do. That's not to say that certain people aren't going to try and force issues and make wars and do this, that and the other for their own personal gain. But I think we, the human species, should be able to really understand who and what we are, and how we are an energetic being, and how we affect the energy around us, and how the energy around us affects us. There's also something else you might notice if you go to the sea, is that on a really sunny day, which also affects you, makes you feel much better, makes you full of energy, sun's energy is good for you, that the sea really charges you up, especially as the tide's coming in. And if it's a really cracking surf day, when the tide, you know, the waves are really crashing in, you get quite charged up and you feel full of energy, and you don't necessarily need to eat so much, and you don't necessarily feel as fatigued and tired as you would do on a dull and dingy day, which is great. So, you know, energy affects us. If you stand in a fast-flowing river, you feel that energy too. I used to do quite a lot of canoeing when I was younger, and sitting in a river that's just flowing gently is lulling and soporific and beautiful, and then suddenly going into rapids, wow, you know, you're full of energy all of a sudden. So everything that has energy is affecting you one way or another. it would be interesting for yourself to note how things affect you, how different people affect you, how talking to somebody on the phone who's unhappy or miserable can bring you down as well, how it can sap your energy, because some people just do drain you of energy. You come out of a conversation, you go, oh, that was so draining. People do that because there's a difference in people. Some people just kind of generate their own energy and don't need to kind of borrow it off other people. And other people just can't live without stealing other people's energies, which is quite sad, really. I guess because of the way they've been brought up, they've never understood that you don't need to steal energy from other people. Plus, I think it also becomes quite addictive, or it becomes normal for you to steal other people's energy by conflict or by creating a situation where you get people to feel sorry for you or get people to get angry with you, and you get your energy hit that way. The trouble with those energy hits is they don't last. You're not generating and kind of gaining your own energy. You're just stealing it from other people. So you kind of need to do it more often, or you need to continually create that drama around yourself to get your energy. Like I said, if people understood this about themselves, the way that we interact with energy on very different scales, stealing energy or generating energy or what have you, people would live differently. There wouldn't be so much drama, I don't think, in people's lives. Okay, some things you can't sort of go again. There's going to be the odd drama here and there. But myself personally, I tend not to create dramas for myself, and I shy away from situations that are real drama situations. I really can't be doing with that. I would much prefer to have a peaceful day-to-day life than living in a soap opera. I'm not keen on living in EastEnders land. I'd much prefer to live in peaceful, internally balanced and non-dramatic land. Anyway, I guess that's enough of talking about the way that energies affect you for today. Okay, if people have questions, that's brilliant. I work better with questions. It's quite difficult to sit here and talk to yourself for a long time. But I'm thinking that maybe there are quite a few other topics I'd like to talk about. I can't put my finger on it right at this moment. My brain has turned to mush while I'm trying to think. There are so many things I'd like to talk about that I can't decide exactly which way to go next. I'll have a think about it. Any suggestions from people would be greatly appreciated. And I guess I'm going to try and do this weekly. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to try and do this weekly. Energy's providing that I don't feel really pants with some weird and wacky build-up. Generally it's okay, but I mean, like I said, last week was a really bad week. It really took its toll on me. The physical effects of build-ups were just like, oh, I really don't want to do anything. I had to, but I didn't want to do anything. And spending extra energy was not the way I wanted to go last week. So I'll think of a really good topic for the next one, and I will try and make up a list so that you'll get an idea of what I want to talk about, and then maybe you can post some questions or some feedback or anything like that. That is, if anybody even looks at these things, listens to these things. Anyway, this is me, Auntie Rainbow, saying it's all about balance, my friends. It's all about balance. And remember that you are amazing. And this episode is dedicated to a lovely man, an amazing man by the name of Mel. Until next time, be well.